local elections. On the face of it, a big win for Labour, a big loss for the Tories. But most of the maths around it say that if that was replicated in a general election, Labour would have to form a coalition, which would not be ideal for them. So it's not a home run anyway. This issue of wokery, of all these social issues, of the culture wars, why has he decided that he's going to go out and say none of it matters?
Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear will change your perspective on British politics. Piers Morgan is once again at the center of a dramatic event, and this time, no one is safe. His scathing critique of Keir Starmer is shaking the very core of Westminster. Morgan doesn't hold back, portraying the Labour leader as someone who shirks responsibility, dodges interviews, and avoids tough questions as if they were landmines. Both Piers Morgan and Keir Starmer are known for stirring controversy, but their confrontation goes beyond mere words. It's a genuine clash of ideologies and leadership styles. Morgan, recognized for his relentless approach, has made a name for himself by asking the uncomfortable questions that others shy away from. His interviews, ranging from grilling world leaders to exposing public figures, always generate a whirlwind of emotions and make headlines. Now he has set his sights on Keir Starmer, accusing him of evading accountability and control.
I honestly didn't think that we had a chance of winning that election.
So you said it anyway.
I wanted to campaign for our colleagues, and I then, once we got the result that we did, which were the results that I expected that we might get, as I say, I decided to step up to lead the party, not something I had planned to do when I came into Parliament, and to change it and to put it back in the service of working people. I want to grow our economy.
Okay.
I accept that previous Labour leaders have sort of pulled the tax lever every single time and driven up spending. I want to grow our economy.
But over the last year, I feel like you've formed into more of a politician than the person that I would have voted for to run the country. You seem more like a political robot. How are you going to convince others like me to vote for you?
Well, the most... Look, all I can say,
Piers Morgan's critique of Keir Starmer extends well beyond his media appearances. For Morgan, this issue strikes at the very heart of leadership. Can Starmer make tough decisions, take a definitive stance, and instill confidence in British society? Morgan passionately contends that Starmer's hesitance to confront criticism signals a more profound issue, a lack of conviction in his beliefs. He underscores that true leaders are defined not only by their ability to articulate ideas, but also by their courage to confront challenges head-on, overcoming them with resolve and tenacity. In this light, the question surrounding Starmer transcends politics. It becomes a crucial inquiry. Can he rise to be the leader the country needs during these challenging times?
Now, if you frame it, you see, if you say, would you care more about cost of living crisis or the woke issues, given that stark choice, I can imagine people say, well, obviously right now, the money. But actually, it goes a lot deeper than that.
Yeah, it does.
And that's why I think it's a really interesting political move here, because I think he's wrong. You know, when I interviewed Rishi Sunak, and actually, more interestingly than that, when I asked him, what's a woman? He said an adult human female. I interviewed Anthony Albanese, who's the Prime Minister of Australia. He's a progressive from the left, diehard. And he said immediately an adult female, because in Australia, which is a pretty progressive country now, even in Australia, they've had this backlash now to politicians not saying simple biological facts like that. So it's an interesting play that Starmer, who's our Albanese, has decided this is the way to go.
For Keir Starmer, the stakes have become extremely high. As the leader of the Labour Party, he faces immense pressure to prove his readiness to challenge the Conservatives in the upcoming general election. Is Starmer's avoidance of communication with Morgan a sign of his fear of tough issues? Or is it a shrewd strategy to sidestep unnecessary confrontations? This isn't the first time he has been accused of dodging challenging interviews. Critics angrily point to his meticulously planned media appearances where he encounters minimal opposition. The tension is rising and all eyes are on him. How will he handle this mounting pressure?
Piers Morgan uncensored. Sir Keir Starmer may well be the next British Prime Minister. Labour leader has a hearty lead in the polls. After 13 years of Tory rule with 3 Prime Ministers in one chaotic year recently, his path to power is clear. But he still has to prove he knows what matters to the British people. And today, I believe he made a massive miscalculation. He's reportedly briefed his top team to avoid talking about social issues, woke issues, because apparently the public doesn't care about them. He couldn't be more wrong. The public does care.
Rather than confronting tough questions and engaging in heated debates, Starmer frequently opts for safer environments where he can maintain control. While this approach may yield short-term advantages, it raises significant concerns about his leadership abilities. The Prime Minister must be prepared to endure pressure, face criticism, and defend their policies rather than retreating behind comfortable barriers. By steering clear of interviews with prominent figures like Piers Morgan, Starmer risks being remembered as evasive or even weak. Morgan is unflinching in his criticism, openly accusing Starmer of lacking transparency. One of the most controversial moments of his leadership was his notorious response to the question of what defines a woman. This incident has come to symbolize his insecurity and inconsistency, leaving many feeling confused and disappointed.
It is a prevalent mind virus and arguably one of the biggest threats to modern civilization.
You should explain why you don't think it's hyperbole to say things like it's pushing civilization towards suicide. First of all, what is the woke mind virus? And if we don't deal with this, nothing else can get done. Tell me why you think that.
Yeah, so I think we need to be very cautious about anything that is anti-meritocratic and anything that is that results in the suppression of free speech. So, those are two of the aspects of the woke mind virus that I think are very dangerous. Is that it's often anti-meritocratic. You can't question things. Even the questioning is bad.
This internal struggle starkly illustrates the significant challenges Labour faces in addressing complex cultural issues. On one hand, Starmer must strive to maintain unity within his party, while on the other he risks alienating voters who feel their concerns are overlooked. The controversy surrounding Keir Starmer has garnered attention beyond the UK, and when Elon Musk weighed in, the debate escalated to a global scale. Musk's criticism of Starmer not only targeted him as a politician but also served as a broader critique of what he perceives as serious flaws in contemporary political leadership. These pointed remarks added a new layer to the conversation, compelling Starmer to confront not only domestic criticism, but also international scrutiny that he cannot afford to ignore. For Labour, this served as a harsh reminder of the difficulties of leadership in an increasingly interconnected and challenging world. Every decision and every word carries weight, and the pressure on Starmer intensifies daily.
One of the richest and smartest men in the history of this planet says that something's literally threatening civilization. We should probably not just dismiss it. It's very easy to dismiss this stuff as culture wars, diversionary tactics used by politicians, so we get mad about society instead of their mismanagement. And there is something to that, I get it. But make no mistake, this woke virus is real and it ruins people's lives. It means Western society is being policed by a radical minority of people with ultra-progressive views that would seem completely insane at most family dinner tables. It means people are abused, shamed and vilified, sometimes hounded out of their jobs for expressing a dissenting opinion. It means our heritage and our culture are being constantly ransacked, from Roald Dahl's books to the James Bond novels, to avoid offending an imaginary cult. It means ordinary people having to hesitate before using perfectly normal words like woman or bonkers or mother, because they've been browbeaten into thinking it'll cause offence.
By steering clear of challenging interviews, Starmer sends a completely different message, igniting a wave of emotions. Morgan's criticism has resonated with many voters, particularly those who remain uncertain about the future of the Labour Party under his leadership. For some, his remarks have only intensified the growing frustration with the current state of British politics, where accountability often takes a backseat to political manoeuvring and games. The discussion surrounding Keir Starmer's leadership is intensifying not just in the media, but also within the Labour Party itself, creating an atmosphere of tension and uncertainty. A notable example of this conflict is Rosie Duffield, a Labour MP who openly shares her views on gender and women's rights. Her self-identification as a woman and a female adult has led to significant clashes with party leadership. Yet, it has also garnered her strong support from certain voter groups who value her honesty and straightforwardness. Her stance has ignited a fierce debate within the Labour Party, with some members calling for her removal from the election, while others view her as a voice of reason and justice.
You know,
sorry, have I offended you in some way?
No. It's just no. I just.
A woman can have a penis.
I don't think that discussing this issue in this way helps anyone in the long run. For 99.9% of women, everything is a matter of biology, and I'm very, very supportive of that. For the vast majority of women, this is all about biology, and of course they don't have a penis. We all know that. 99.9-something% of women, it's all biological, and it's very straightforward.
What's that percentage again? How many women have penises again, Sakir? So far this year, I've interviewed the Prime Ministers of Britain, Israel, Australia. I went to the Ukraine to interview President Zelensky, interviewed former US President Donald Trump. I've interviewed other US presidential candidates for 2024. The one person I've not interviewed is Keir Starmer, or any of his senior shadow cabinet.
What should have been a straightforward response spiraled into chaos, leaving many in utter disbelief and shock. In a time when cultural and social issues dominate political discussions, leaders must confront complex and controversial topics with confidence. However, Starmer's response only exasperated the situation, revealing a lack of common sense. Social media erupted with angry comments, many of which sarcastically mocked Starmer's failure to provide a clear and concise answer. Even within his own party, intense debates emerged, leading some members to question whether Starmer is truly capable of leading Labour in the upcoming elections. What are your thoughts on this video? See you next time.